All right, so normally I filmed an introduction to the video and I'm doing this backwards. I went to park number US 1024, which is Silver Spring State Park, and it was probably one of the more difficult activations that I've had. Band conditions were terrible. I had some issues with external things that you'll see in the video. Hopefully this gives everybody a few tips, tricks, to help make your park activations successful. Stick around. Hopefully you get something from this. If you do, please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm always willing to make a video for you, my viewers and subscribers. So let's get started. Park number US 1024, Silver Springs State Park. All right, we made it to Silver Spring State Park, and we are going to be using for our antenna the Stealth Flagpole, or SPF01, which is made by TN07 along with, let's back up here, their mast. Let's see, TN07 right there. We're also going to be using their drive-on mount for this. So let's get this set up, and hopefully the bands are going to work with us and we'll get on the air and activate the park. So I wanted to take a second here, and I know that a lot of people here are possibly new to POTA. So I'm going to be putting up an almost 32-foot or so mast. The antenna actual wire goes on the inside of the mast. And then at the bottom, it uses a matching unit right here. So you can see you gotta have a 45 right there, UHF connector going out to your coax. The wire screws onto the top, and I'll show you more of that. But I know this may seem obvious for some people, but this is something that you always want to make sure, because this is something to check out before you put your mast up. I don't know if you can see right over here above my, about right there, there's some power lines. Always take a second or two and check above and around where you're going to be putting up your mast. Obviously, I'm far enough away from those. I'm on the other side of the parking lot, but if I were to park on the other side, I'd have to watch out for those. So again, just be safe. Take a second or two, look up in the air and see where you're going to put this thing, because if you set up on the other side, there's some power lines right there. So this TN07 antenna, how it connects is inside the mast, and it uses what they call a blade connector. And I'm going to try to do this one-handed, so it just kind of fits like that, and then it just fits on like that. Your last couple feet of your antenna is that wire right there going up, and then on the other side here, you can see on the top unit, or the top section, I'm sorry, that the wire goes up. You can actually use this without this antenna. You could just use the mast, and then you could just use that loop right there to hang an in-fed or an off-center fed dipole, whatever you got there. All right, let's get this puppy up. All right, so there's the matching unit attached to the bottom. The wire is running up the mast, going all the way out there. And I got that chair to help hold it up. Sorry about the shaking. What I also do here is I just take a piece of tape or two, just put it on the bottom going around this way, just to help hold this in place a little bit better. All right, so we are all set up. We got the antenna up, we got it connected, and let me just swing this around here, show you guys. That red wire with the Mueller clip, that's a counterpoise. That's about 32 feet or so. I was told that that helps, and it has seemed to help with this antenna. And all the way up there, and right behind Betty White on the tailgate there, that's Betty White. We are going to have our setup for the park. We got our battery box on. Everything's looking good on that. ICOM 706 with an LG Z100A tuner, even though I very rarely have to use it. All right, so we're all set up. We're all ready to go. Now here's a problem. I don't have internet. I just looked on my phone and I was going to spot myself, no go. So what do? You're all set up, everything's ready to go. Well, it's really easy. Number one, find your frequency that you're gonna use, make sure nobody's using it. And the second thing that you wanna do is, when you start calling CQ POTA and you get your first spotter or two, ask them if they would be able to spot you. That is why I always carry with me just a pen and a paper, just in case. I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm not that far away. Like I said, we're in Plano, Yorkville, Illinois here. I'm not in the middle of nowhere. I had signal and now I don't, but no big deal. We're gonna still try to activate the park. And yes, I keep looking around me because they are mowing. So I'm making sure that I'm not gonna interfere with them and they're not gonna interfere with me. All right. So I was able to get my network back and it looks like I found a clear frequency. So we are going to see if we can activate the park. CQ POTA. It's KC9 USB from park number US 1024. Our band conditions are not the greatest. I'm seeming to hit a pipeline to Georgia and the East Coast. So we'll see what happens. So let me just explain something about this part of the video. Remember how I said in the intro that sometimes you have things happen that are out of your control, that is just external things. So while I started getting QSOs coming back, started getting a little pile up. At this point, I had a DNR officer come and ask me what I was doing. And then also a park worker who was also mowing. So I was dealing with them mowing, watching what they were doing, making sure that I wasn't gonna get kicked out or having to move my stuff for them. And then the DNR guy and a mower came over and I stopped and I answered their questions and talked to them and tried to be sociable, because I believe that we as ham radio operators doing this kind of stuff, that it's more important to, well, try to gain more people into this hobby. So I've probably lost quite a few QSOs, and if that was one of you that I didn't respond to, I apologize. Again, these things happen. Cheers. All right, so the band condition is not doing too good. I got about 3 QSOs so far. So I think what I'm gonna end up doing here is trying some digital, see what happens. So I switched over to FTA and probably gonna be getting a few more contacts, but sideband today is terrible. So we'll try to finish out the activation on FT8. So we'll see what happens. So I barely squeaked by with 10 QSOs to activate this park. My internet also dropped again, so I'm gonna have to enter this all in later. And this is the way it goes sometimes, right? Well, the bands were terrible. 20, 40, 50, 15, you name it. But that's the great thing about ham radio, is that if something doesn't work for you, try something else. And that's one of the nice things about the different type of modes that we can operate, such as FT8. When the bands are not that good, you can still get through and still make QSOs. So, but today is a good day, because any day that you can get out to the park and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the nice weather. So let me show you around this place a little bit. So some of you may wonder why they call this Silver Springs. So back in the early 1800s, when the settlers first came to this area, they kind of bought these springs from the Indians. When the first settlers got here, when they saw the springs, they said that if you looked at it at certain angles, it looked like it had silver in it. Thus, Silver Springs, the state park. So to me, POTA is more than just going out and playing radio, which is fun. To me, it's about going out and actually exploring the parks. This is what it's all about. It's about being around this. It's good for you. You get your steps in. Everybody needs to touch grass every now and then. I like to go out and actually see what's in the parks. Let's just take a little walk here and I'll show you the springs. All right, after a little short jaunt here, we're at the springs. That's behind me right there. And that's watercress. That's pretty much like this year round. even when middle of the winter, when it's snowing and freezing and everything else, this stays like this. Try to get you a better shot of the actual springs here. There's actually water trickling up, not only over here, it flows down into here, but it's also bubbling up out there. And then it flows downhill towards the Fox River. Pretty cool, huh? Let me show you the Fox River. All right, another short little walk. That's the Fox River, part of it. One interesting thing that I found out about the Fox River is a lot of people think that it was named after the animal, the fox. It actually wasn't. Doing a little bit of research and a little bit of the history of the Fox Valley and this area, it was actually named originally, and I'll try to find the name of it, it was actually named for bison, the Indian word for bison. Then later on, an English map maker, one of the early settlers to the area, decided to change the name to something that was a little bit easier to comprehend. So he called it the Fox. Now, a little history into that too. The English map maker who probably made this kind of did that out of showing that he didn't exactly like the French, because the Fox tribe was known to harass and fight with the French and give them a hard time. Like I said, a lot of people think that it was named after the animal, and it wasn't. It was actually named after the Indian tribe, the Fox tribe, that frequented this area. The English map maker who probably made this kind of did that out of showing that he didn't exactly like the French, because the Fox tribe was known to harass and fight with the French and give them a hard time. So he paid honor to them by naming the river after them. Obviously, you can tell where his bias laid at that time. So the archery range, got a nice trap range there. Park offers a lot of different stuff to do. It's pretty cool. All right, well, we're gonna head back. We're all packed up and went around and explored the park a little bit, which is pretty cool. Gonna go hit one of my favorite pizza places, bring dinner back for the family tonight. So if you like this content, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and also leave in the comments if you wanna see more things like this, less things like this, if there's different areas that you want me to explore in ham radio or our parks here. This is one of many, so let me know. Till the next time, 73s everybody.